Hello, House of Mouseketeers here for today's review. Let's get on with it. We are reviewing Dreamworks' latest anime movie for as part of their 30th anniversary for Wild Robot, and which marks the return to animation for director Chris Sanders after a brief, uh, you know, time directing live action with, well, uh, with very mediocre results with his return to Disney. Honestly, I was surprised that he was when he returned. He was announced as directors because I thought he was finished with DreamWorks after his vision for the Croods 2 fell flat. But I guess the failure of Call of the Wild or whatever that live action movie director with Harrison Ford failed. I guess he always did have a spot with Dean DeWar as one of the senior execs at DreamWorks. But anyway, um, and I should mention I've never read the original book that this is based on. So going to this, I was very blind. I was going a bit blind, but the trailer really did win me over the moment I saw it, and I could see DreamWorks were definitely trying something different with this. Much like with Orion in the Dark earlier this year, it looked like they were doing, though this time they were releasing in theaters. The animation looked like they were sticking to what this new style that they start to mixing to, CG, giving a bit of a cartoony 2D uh, hand-drawn look to their CG films, as well as and also being the last one they're making in-house, fully making in-house before they start, collaborating with other studios. I wish that wasn't the case, but yeah, and yeah, the look reminded me a lot of, say, the best of Studio Ghibli. In fact, even the movie reminded me a lot of about the best of Studio Ghibli, which I'll get to a little bit later. It was sort of unique, and I was everything just screamed like some of my favorite Japanese anime movies. Not just Studio Ghibli, but also the works of Mamoru Hosoda as well, and a few others as well. I was really excited for this, and especially when I saw all the great reviews it's getting. In fact, it still has got, as it stands as I'm recording this, 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So I was like, wow, I definitely have to look at this. And especially, but I was a little, yeah, well, actually, I'll get to that last part later, but yeah. So, and well, I gotta say, the critics are definitely right. This is a really great film. Definitely one of DreamWorks' best. And yeah, I mean, it's funny that the two original movies this year, as part of the 40th anniversary, Orion and Wild Robot, are their best films this year compared to their sequel for this year, Kung Fu Panda 4, which yeah, I guess it's just gross originality, I guess. But yeah. So the story involves a robot, a new is set in the future where after being washed ashore from a shipwreck, a robot named Roz, I forget the full name, but we refer to her as Roz, awakens on an uncharted, activates on an uncharted island with nothing but a bunch of wild animals on it, all with the instinct of eat and be eaten, survival of the fittest, circle life sort of stuff, yeah. Roz tries to fit in immediately, believing that these animals will accept her and she'll be them, and one of those animals will be her master. But obviously, it doesn't really quite work, and the animals feel scared around her and think of her as a monster. Even when she finally deciphers the animal language pretty quickly. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Well, actually, it does take a couple of days, so. But while being attacked by by some hostile animals who want to kill her, because they believe her as a monster, Roz accidentally kills a mother bird and all her eggs bar one. Like and after caring for it and protecting it from a fox who wants to eat it, the egg hatches into a young Rutherford Gosling, who Roz referred to it calls Brightbill. Um, just after for initially reluctant of for initially unsure of what to do, and after receiving some advice from a porky from a possum, I think it is. Yeah, a possum. That's it. He Rosby accepts the responsibility of being the young gosling's mother. And with the help of the fox who tried to eat it, known as Fink, Ros decides to train to raise the gosling and teach it how to fly in order for it to fly south for the winter, all while developing a sense of self and understanding how it is to survive and be able to be one with be part of the community of this uncharted island. And yeah, I think the story is actually really good. And again, it's a slice of life, which reminds me of some of the best that Hayao Miyazaki ever did with his films, and also Mamoru Hosoda. I see a lot, as I said, I see a lot of the best of Japanese anime movies that are like, Wolf Children, Whispers of the Heart, Arrietty, The Wind Rises, the Girl Who Left for Time. They are also my favorite Japanese anime movies, and the fact that this film is sort of like that gives it a special feel to it, because there's not that many anime movies I feel with American or even UK films that just sort of feel be like a slice of life or something like that, and have that feel to it. You could say there's been a few attempts, and yeah, I have to acknowledge that too, that there's been other attempts at this, but this was definitely probably the closest, and you can definitely tell Chris Sanders had really, really understood what he was doing with this, and yeah, and it's definitely very different to some of his other films. I mean, the other three times he's directed films in animation, he's been a co-director, either with Dean DeBois or Koto Miko. But yeah, he definitely, for his first solo directorial work in animation, he does a really good job with this, and I really like how he handles everything. As I said, the animation is gorgeous. I mean, it's definitely easy to say that all the animals on this island belong on the same are part of the same place. They all look their art styles all blended together, with the exception of Ross, which makes sense because she is the outsider and is complete. And even as she stays on the island for the amount of time that she does slowly gain damages, get sullied, and a lot of dirt on it, and even a massive scratch and cut or something like that on her chest. You can definitely see she does sort of blend in the more she does stay more time she spends here. The pacing is also really good. I really love the pacing of this film. It's not like no part of this film does overstay its welcome. Everything flows by pretty quickly. It's at the right pace, at the right time. You don't feel bored by it, and yeah, again, as I said, that's another reason as to why I compare it with some of the great Japanese anime movies. The only thing you could say is that the climax is a little forced, but it is still integral to the development of our main character, and it does feel planned. It may seem like it comes out of nowhere, which is probably the only nitpick I have with this. It still is integral, and you understand why it's included in here, and it makes so much sense. And the atmosphere is also pretty good. I mean, not just the music in particular is fantastic. I think it was Chris Burrows who did this. He did a good job. Whatever, did a good job to score it. It's fantastic. It's as I said, it's atmospheric music, but again, adds to the emotion. Adds to to being on this island. It's fantastic. And the themes are around this. Not just got the themes of motherhood and segregation, artificial intelligence, and I think of a couple of films one film I think of in particular as I watch this, in particular the theme of motherhood is there was this is is the family film Fly Away Home from the mid 90s with Adam Paquin and Jeff Daniels. That also explored imprinting and on young birds and raising them to fly south for the winter and stuff like that. Probably the first time I've ever talked about that film on cam on camera. I mean, I've been well since I shut off the DVD for that one-off video. Don't know why I ever did that. That's part of the reason why I was starting out. But yeah, I do think of that film in particular when I think of the relationship between Roz and Bright Bill. Ian, you throw a think in there as well. The voice acting beyond perfect. I mean, talk about getting the right people for every character in this film. Everyone's singing praise about Lupita Nyong'o, and as Roz, and yeah, everyone's right. She is fantastic in this. I mean, it's definitely true that she is still a robot, and you could see a bit of voice direction in that way, but it feels natural, and her eagerness to immediately just find her master and be gain accept the tasks of people around her, and even as she struggles to identify, she's got to think for herself, and she does gain life with it, and Nyong'o's performance reflects that. She is the emotional core of this. It probably wouldn't. It's hard to say if any actor could have done this well, but as well as she did, her voice just fits so well for this character. And yeah, I mean, I think this is definitely one of her probably her best movie I think I've seen her in. I mean, I like her. I've seen her in other films. I mean, I liked her a lot as Nakia in the Black Panther films, but yeah, she is fantastic in this. And I also got to throw in Pedro Pascal as Fink the Fox. He is also fantastic. I mean, I think those two are the best characters in this film, being Fink and Fink is definitely is the second best character in this as well. I mean, he is great. And so Pascal provides both a sincereness, also a bit of a sarcastic feel to it. I mean, and his character fits that way. Their friendship really does grow as they continue to interact off each other. I mean, and you can also throw in Bright Bill as well. I mean, yeah, they sort of form a legit family through their time together. And I mean, yes, the main focus is more on Roz and Bright Bill, but Fink does sort of fit into this as well. It's all, as I said, they are pretty much like a surrogate family. Yeah, it's fantastic. I thought, and as I said, Pascal's great. And even Bright Bill, played by Kit Connor, he's not too bad too. And all the other actors are also pretty good in this. Although, I will say it's sort of easy. I should mention with three of them though. I mean, this is the second time that Mark Hamill, Bill Knightley, and Catherine O'Hara have been in a voice acting in a Dreamworks movie, with those being Hamill was obviously in Joseph's King of Dreams, which again I've done a review for before. O'Hara was in Over the Hedge, and Knightley was in Flushed Away, which I know is technically a collab with Ironman. But yeah, and I think it's easy to say that all those not so much Knightley, but the other two's characters, but Hamill's and O'Hara's characters do feel similar to the characters they played in their previous films for DreamWorks. Just slightly, because there are some differences. I mean, O'Hara's is that she's a single parent, and, well, Hamill's not playing a character from the Bible, but yeah. They do also a good job, and no actor sounds out of place. They all are perfect in this. You can definitely tell they put a lot of effort into the cast, but in particular, my favorites are definitely Nyong'o and Pascal. They are the best. So yeah, I gotta say, The Wild Robot is a fantastic film. Definitely one of DreamWorks' best. I mean, I think a lot of fans were definitely disappointed with DreamWorks after the high of 2022 of The Bad Guys and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish to come out last year with with Ruby Gill and Teenage Cracker, which I do still think is a little bit underrated. I don't think it's as bad as what people say it is. Not perfect, but it's still a fine film. But but it is still bomb. And of course, Trolls World Tour, which I think definitely was the bigger, worst mistake Dreamworks could have done when it came to releasing what they released after their two best films, their best films ever made in 2022. But yeah, they rebounded significantly with these. I mean, yeah, you could say Kung Fu Panda 4 was a disappointment, but still was fine, and a lot of even people say that it was still better than their two films from the year before. But you throw in the successful reigns of both Orion and The Wild Robot, it does seem like DreamWorks really did understand how to celebrate their anniversary year better than what Disney did last year. Yeah, I'm sorry, I shouldn't harp on Disney too much for how they failed their 100th anniversary, but it's easy to still say that because 100 years you should have released better quality products for a big year anniversary. They still did, but not enough to outweigh the bad ones. And I really hope this is a success at the box office because, well, I mean, as you all know, what's also released this at the same time as this is Transformers 1. And I should mention, I don't think I'm going to be able to see that in theaters because because I probably won't have the time because I go away on holiday for a bit. So, and by the time I get back from holiday, there's a few films I probably will watch. Mainly in relation to DC. Yeah, I think you can guess the Joker's the sequel to Joker for Lady AO and the Superman Christopher Reeve documentary. But yeah, if I have the time, maybe I could try Transformers 1. It's very slim that I'll get the chance to do it. But yeah, I really hope this gets. I know I'm sounding, even though I haven't seen Transformers 1, and I know it's getting also decent reviews. Not as high as this one, but you know. But I really hope this one gets the better box office as well. I mean, I already know this is the best critically reviewed film. Hopefully, it can do better than the Hasbro toy line film. Just hoping, I just think this is a great original film, and this is getting a lot of Oscar buzz, and saying this film should win best anime feature instead of Inside Out 2. Definitely do it. DreamWorks have only won twice. Well, I guess again, I guess you could say 1.5 because one of them was Wallace and Gromit, but yeah, with Fireman. But yeah, they definitely deserve to win for this one. This gets a 9.9 out of 10 Hasstars. I'm not giving it a 10, but it's still pretty high. It's definitely somewhere within my top 10, maybe even top 5 DreamWorks movies of all time. It's great, and I think it's definitely worth taking your kids to watch. It's a beautiful film. There's nothing more I can say about that. Yeah. So what's next? Well, as I said, I'm gonna go away for holiday for a bit, so when I return, I probably will get to. I think the next film I probably would review would either be either the two DC, either one of those DC movies I sort of said, which were Joker for Lady or the Superman Christopher Reeve documentary. And if not that, then I might be doing maybe something else. Maybe even something special. You never know. You just got to wait and see. But in the meantime, Hazard from Hazard Reviews is out, and I shall see you next time. Ciao!